The River Itchen in the heart of Hampshire. This is fly fishing territory and one of our finest chalk streams. And it's open to everyone, from experienced anglers, children, and even complete beginners. A bit like, well, me.
The thing is, I'm just not very good and I'm never really quite sure what I'm doing. So I've been invited to East Lodge in Twyford to meet a man who really does know what he's doing.
This is classic Hampshire countryside, a classic river valley look. It's very lush, it's very verdant, absolutely beautiful.
These are the world-famous chalk streams of Hampshire. Among some of the rarest and most beautiful environments. That's why they're so special and so loved by fishermen the world over.
Hello Fred, I'm John Reeve. Nice to meet you.
Very nice to meet you too. Thank you very much for having me.
John Reeve has spent most of his life fishing here, and this is one of his favourite spots.
Well, this is the East Lodge estate here on the River Itchen. We've got this wonderful natural floodplain, and we've got 2 miles of the finest chalk stream fishing.
There are all sorts of fish here in the River Itchen: brown trout, grayling, sea trout and salmon.
Well, we're going to do a bit of upstream dry fly fishing, and the most important thing is to understand the water, observe it to see what's going on, looking for fish and seeing what the fly life is doing. So you'll see these benches along the riverbank, and that's to encourage people to sit and observe the water.
So an essential piece of fishing kit.
Absolutely, and what you can see is they're angled so we can look upstream to see if there's any fly hatching off and fish feeding on the fly.
We're up here, I'm going to see a fish occasionally over there.
Well, what we're looking for is fly life on the surface, so looking for the moment where the fly hatches, and you'll see a very small ring, and then you'll see the fly on the surface, and then the fish taking the fly. And when that happens, then you'll hear it, and you'll also see the rings on the water. And we're going to try and imitate that with our imitation dry fly.
I'm beginning to understand what upstream dry fly fishing actually means. But first, there's a lot more for me to discover.
The next thing, of course, is the rod and tackle. What do I need? I mean, you've got a rod here. What am I looking to have?
Well, you've got the fly rod itself, as you've seen, a fly reel, a fly line, which in this case is a floating line, a leader, and then on the end of the leader, the dry fly itself.
And what is the leader? That's a totally different line from the fly line.
That's right. We don't want to land the fly line on the fish because that would scare it. So we've got 9 or 10 feet of monofilament to attach the fly to the fly line. On this river, we would only use a floating line rather than an intermediate or faster sinking line. And the reason for that is we want the fly to sit on the surface of the water.
Another thing that I've always found confusing is the immense variety, not only of flies, but of rods. What do you use?
Well, rods come in different lengths and weights. I'm using an 8'6" 5 weight today, which is a classic rod for a chalk stream. You could go lighter here with a 3 or a 4 weight, but it's a little bit breezy today, so I want the extra control.
When I look at a box of flies, I'm not quite sure what I'm looking at with this immense variety. Why so many?
Well, at different times of the season, you get different species of fly coming off the water, and it's really important to use the right type of dry fly to imitate the right type of natural insect. The most spectacular hatch is the mayfly hatch, which happens in May and June on this river. And then you get the large mayflies coming off in huge numbers, and the fish are at the start of the season, so they're really hungry, and you can get some spectacular fishing at that time of year.
John gave me a crash course on some of the most common flies.
This one here is a bit larger than the others. That imitates a mayfly. I've got a couple of emerger patterns here, so they imitate flies that are just hatching out of the surface of the water. This one is a sedge fly. That's a different type of fly that folds its wings back on its body, hence the the wing going backwards over the hook. This is a more traditional upwing pattern, an Adams. This one is a little royal wolf, and the keeper tells me that's a real good go-to fly here. And then the nymph, which we can't use at this time of year, but after July we can use that type of fly which sinks under the surface.
So what's the health and safety aspects of fly fishing, John?
Well, you can see that I've got a pair of Polaroid glasses here. The Polaroid lenses are really important because they take the glare off the water and it helps us see the fish under the surface. It's also really important to protect your eyes, so you should always wear glasses when you're fishing, and a hat's a good idea as well.
Upstream dry fly fishing is exactly what it says. Casting a dry fly that sits on the surface, upstream. It then drifts down in front of the fish and, well, you just hope it'll take it.
I'm trying to cast in such a way that there's a little bit of slack in the leader so the fly can move down naturally.
That comes with the current, at the speed of the current, and not being held back by the line.
That's right.
Which the fish notices.
That's right. And you'll notice that as it comes down, I'm just bringing the line in so it doesn't get caught in the current and it doesn't drag the fly off its natural line. And then once it's gone past the fish's station, then I'll recast back above it.
Casting is an art all in itself. Experts like John can cast a long way and, more importantly, very accurately. And when you get it right, well, this happens. Some keep the trout to eat, others put them back.
Okay, let's get him back safely.
East Lodge here in Twyford is one of the finest stretches of fly fishing, and it's open for everyone.
Well, John, thank you so much. It's been really instructional. I've learnt a lot and I feel so much more confident now.
Well, this really is a fantastic beat here at East Lodge on the River Itchen. One of the finest I've fished.
It's one of the most beautiful spots I've seen in a long time, actually. The fish are fantastic.